Haji Vaidji Khalsa Vaidji Fatehji. Welcome to another session called Gurbani. This is Ravinder Singh joining you from Columbus. And today we will be doing the subsequent passage from Sodar, which is Karta sachiar maida sanhi, Samela Chotha. And Chetandeep Singh, will you be kind enough to lead us through?
Uh, sure, VJ.
Hanji, please go ahead.
Let's start by reading out the passage first.
Ji.
Uh, आसा महला चौथा तू करता सचियार मैंडा साईं जो तो पावै सोई थीसी जो तू दे सोई हो पाई रहाओ सब तेरी तू सब नी ध्याया जिसनो कृपा करे तू नाम रतन पाया गुरमुख लादा मनमुख गवाया तुद आप विछोड़या आप मिलाया तू दरियाओ सब तुझी माहे तुझ बिन दूजा कोई नाहीं जीव जंत सब तेरा खेल विजोग मिल विछड़िया संजोगी मेल जिसनो तू जाना है सोई जन जानै हर गुण सद ही आख बखानै जिन हर सेविया तिन सुख पाया सहजे ही हर नाम समाया तू आपे करता तेरा किया सब होए तुद बिन दूजा अवर न कोय तू कर कर विखे जाने सोए जन नानक गुरमुख प्रगट होए uh, so I do not have a line by line English rendition of the Shabad, uh, but I'll start talking about what my understanding of this Shabad is. So,
Sure.
uh, I mean, when I was reading this Shabad, and this Shabad I've read many times over the course of my life, and this Shabad is actually very, very personal to me. I mean, we can understand this Shabad at two levels, right? One, we can understand this Shabad at a conceptual level. And the second, we can at least understand the Shabad at least two levels, but one of them is conceptual and one of them is experiential. So even though I have not fully experienced this Shabad as it is, but even at a conceptual level, this Shabad has helped me a lot in my life. I mean, I can start by sharing, I mean, something personal to me. Like, for example, no matter how bad the things are, at least externally, or at least how they look to me in my head, or maybe no matter how conflicted I am, most of the times when I recite this Shabad, it evokes a certain feeling in me. I mean, the feeling that basically everything is okay. And I mean, no matter who I am or basically how tangled my mind is at that particular moment, it evokes a peace in me here and now rather than at some later life or something. It here and now it gives me that feeling that everything is okay. Even understanding this Shabad at a conceptual level, and we'll see what concepts are presented in this Shabad. But I just wanted to set a kind of background that I mean, even at a very conceptual level, this Shabad has helped me a lot. So let's start by looking at Rahao the Pankti, which are the first two lines of the Shabad. Tu karta sachiar menda sain, jo to pave soi thisi, jo tu de soi ho pai Rahao. So in the Shabad, Guru Ramdas he is, at least the way I see it, is sharing or describing his state of mind. And the fundamental idea in this Shabad, as in the whole Bani, is of tu karta, right? Tu karta, as in that you are the doer or you are the creator. And in this Shabad, Guru Ramdas he is not saying this as an intellectual concept, as you or me might say that oh, Ikonkar means everything is one, or we all are one. We know it at a very conceptual level, or at least I know it at a very conceptual level that yes, there is unification of everything, everything is one, you and me are not separate, and all that. But he is saying this as a very deep knowing, a conviction that is based on his life, and probably he has seen this reality of oneness very up and close, right? And he's saying "tu karta," and again he's saying like whatever happens or however it pleases you, only that happens. Right? Everything is in the system, the hukam that we know, and nothing is operating outside of the system. The second half of the second line, "Jotun de soi ho pai," stood out to me. It's very interesting. Like what I understood is like if you give me the gift of, let's say, milap, then I get that gift. I get that gift of milap. Or if you give me the illusion of home, I get that home. But it's you who is everything. It's and that fact is reiterated again and again in this Shabad. So let's look at some of the implications of saying tu karta, right? So as they are further in down in the Shabad, like what does when Guru Sahib says tu karta, right? I mean everything is you. What does it actually mean, or what does it imply? So I mean, if I apply this to my life, tu karta, right? All I see is like all my anxiety or my stress or unnecessary thoughts, they just vanish, right? I mean, uh, when I see tu karta, when I see that everything that is happening is you or you are the doer, then what I have felt is that I'm less judgmental of other people. I am not I'm not rushing to judge other people or cut them off or just dismiss them. Right? I live less in my own head, tangled in my own head, but I live more in this reality that is around me. And I'm more accepting, more open to other people, is what I've seen when I accept this fact of Tukarta. Otherwise, I mean, I live a normal, I really like to call it a tangled life, like my mind being tangled. But there are moments when I have felt this Tukarta and I've seen my whole reality around me shifting and just more accepting to whatever the people around me are doing instead of me either judging them or contradicting them or just creating conflicts. So what else flows from this tukarta, right? I mean, the way I see it is that everything and everyone around me is one. Like again, I mean, if it comes further down in the Shabad when Guru Sahib says, uh, "तू दरियाओ सब तुझ ही माहे, तुझ बिन दूजा कोई नाहे." Right? I mean, we have spoken multiple times on this forum about the analogy of an ocean and a wave, right? And here Guru Sahib is actually taking that analogy, saying to Daryao that you are the ocean and we are all like waves. And this line, I think it's huge for me. Tuj bin duja koi nahe, right? I mean, just to say that, there is nobody except you, but to experience how would that be experiencing that reality? How would that look like? I mean, I would certainly say that uh, if I would to feel that तुझ बिन दूजा कोई ना है, that I would actually no longer feel separate from you or anybody else on this forum. I mean, it's not a matter of concept, but as a matter of feeling or a reality that exists that I'm no separate or my body is no separate from your body. We are actually the one. And that's the feeling Guru Sahib is talking about here, that my experience changes from an individual to universal, right? And uh, so let's look at the next lines in this Shabad. Sab teri tu sabni te aaya, jisno kripa kare te naam ratan paya. Again, he is saying that since everything is in you and everybody is you, then everybody is already there. They are remembering you in their own way. And he's saying the next lines are Gurmukh Lada Manmukh Gavaya Tud Aap Vichhodya Aap Milaya, right? This ties nicely into the Rehraas Pankti Jo Tu De Soi Ho Pai. So it seems to me like there is a game going on, game of basically lost and found. I mean, the essence is always there. That oneness is always there. Lada means found and gavaya means lost. It's just a matter of like we have lost something or found something. And he's saying like Guru Sahib is saying he's playing a game. Some people have found it, some people have lost it. And I mean, nobody knows the logic of it. At least that's how I understand it. The logic is like, Jisno kirpa kare te naam ratan paaya, right? To whom he blesses, they basically find it. And Gurmukh Lada Manmukh Gvaya. I mean, within this particular sentence itself, he's saying if you look towards the Gur that is inside you, you will find it. But if you get distracted with the world around you, you lose it, right? So he's saying go find it or lose it. That's the game that's going on here. तुद रियाओ सब तुझी माँ है तुझ बिन दूजा कोई ना है. We just spoke about it. Uh, जी जंत सब तेरा खेल. So the game that's going on here. Vijog mil vichhadya sanjogi mel. So it seems like there are two kind of the players, Vijog and Sanjog, which are responsible for like either you lose it or find it. As it said in Japji Sahib, Sanjog Vijog do kar chalave, likhe ave paad. So again, I mean, जिसनो तू जना है सोई जन जाने हर गुण सदी आँख उठाने. I think it's the reiteration of the same concept as it said in the Rahau, like tu karta and jo tu de soi ho pai. But one more thing that comes to my head when thinking about tu karta is like what are the other implications of tu karta is like we often talk about this free will and destiny or fate, right? I mean, to me, when I think about it, like when we are asked like do we have free will or not, right? I mean if I think about it, the having a free will means that it introduces a sense of separateness, like I am separate and you are separate, and then do I have a free will? But Guru Sahib is saying tuj bin duja koi na, there is nobody else. And what free will are we talking about? Basically I think it's a recognition of the fact that I don't exist, I as a separate identity, right? I mean, all that exists is you or one. So, I mean, th- there is no talk about separateness. So, I mean, these are some of the thoughts that I have about the Shabad. I know they are not very well organized, probably, but I would like to open it to the forum.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was just talking to myself, which I do very often. So thank you, Chetandeep, for that very incisive insight into the Shabad. And what I would like to do is just allow the flow to sort of carry on to the next individual, and then we'll see where the discussion takes us. So the next one I have here is Dilpreet. So Dilpreet, you've heard Chetandeep. Let's get your take on it.
And I think Chetandeep has set the ball rolling. And when I see Japji Sahib, which starts with the concept of Ik Onkar, but then it says Hukam Kib Sachiara Hoiya Kib Kude Tutte Paal, right? Hukam Rijai Chalana. So it steers us towards the Hukam. And then Nanak Hukme Je Bujhe Ta Hame Kahe Na Koi. So somewhere Guru Nanak is taking us away from the concept of existing concepts of the God, or that okay somebody is there or somebody is doing something or somebody is controlling. I feel that he takes steers us away from that very slowly and nicely, and then he introduced the concept of hukam. And if I use the concept of hukam, or I say tu karta as hukam, and then I think it was more, it can explain more things in the day to day life. So this one clarifies that tu karta means hukam, that everything is in hukam as in system. And you can achieve out of this, again, in this system is nirvair. So you will achieve out of it by the way or what you have to do. It reiterates that everyone is getting everything out of this system, because it says sab teri tu sab nitya aaya, right? Or jisnu tu. So it is again reiterating that there is no alternate way, or there is no outside of this that you have to achieve. And gurmukhs will be benefited. That means again gurmukh is that okay, whatever deeds, good deeds you do will result, you will get the results, and system will give you the results. It again reiterates that. And then like jo bije so lune, right? So it reiterates that if you are in the system, and again it says that if you are in sahaj, that slowly and be patient, system will give you the results. So again it is, I think, reiterating that believe in hukam and believe in your deeds, and you be in sahaj, and then be in this system will always give you the right results. So Jana Nanak Gurmukh Pargat Hoy, right? So that is the punchline which he has at the end. So Gurmukh, he's saying Gurmukh will Pargat Hoy, Gurmukh Bujje somewhere he's saying, or in other places he will say Gurmukhs will win the game, or he will say the Gurmukhs are successful. So again, I think he is reiterating that everything is in the hukam and you cannot achieve outside of this hukam. And then he gives us some rules how to play the game in hukam and be in Sahaj, and to wait for the results, and you will get your returns, because Hukam is Nirvair, and so Hukam will always give you the right results of your inputs. So I think he is reiterating the Hukam concept in this Shabad and makes us believe into it more. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you, Haji. Chetandeep, do you want to respond to anything that Dilpreet said?
Uh, no, I think what he said makes sense. But when I look at this Shabad, it's sort of like taking a step back and looking at a big picture. I think this is a pretty big picture Shabad which tells. I mean, yes, there are mechanics of Hukam and everything going on, but then basically it takes a step back and says, you know what, everything that's going on, even with people in Home or Hukam, everything, it's it's actually all one. It's a game that's going on.
Okay. Haji Gurdeep Singh Veji, Montreal, let me
Yeah,
come to you.
yeah, it's clear. Whatever he explained is fine. I can only give another explanation from Gurbani. Again from Chothi Pashi Guru Ramdas ji. He says, Kita karna sarv jai, kish kiche je kar saki hai, apna kita kashu na hove, jo har pave tyo rakhiye. Mere har jiyo, sabko tere vas, asa jor nahi, je kish kar hum sake, jo pave time baks. Sab jiyo pind diya तुझ आपे कार्य लाया जिहा तू हुक्म करे तेहे को कर्म कमावे जा तुझ तुर लिख पाया पंच तत् कर तू सिसब साजी तू सेवा करियो जे खिच कीता होवे इक ना सतगुर मेल तू बुझावे इक मनमुख करे सिरोवे. Here is differentiation. What is the difference? इक ना सतगुर मेल तू बुझावे इक मनमुख करे सिरोवे. So this is where the difference is that Tin Gun, like Sahaj Avastha, there are two playgrounds. We are playing in Three Gun. There we have to pay as you sow, so shall you reap. Jeha Bijay Solune Karma Sandara Khet, because we are all playing game in Three Gun, most of us. Very exceptional, the one who is in the play field of Sahaj Avastha. सहज ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹੀ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਹੈ so he may take that's the only sport we have no other sport we can get but that's possible in the Sahaj Avastha in Triguni Maiki Mandal where we are living. It's not easy for us like all the other creatures in the Pana. They cannot do at their own, any animals, any creation, except the human being. So as long as we are not getting out of the Triguni Maiki Mandal and get into the fourth Sahaj Avastha, Sahaj, then we will be like a football. We get a kick from this side, we go to this way, then we get somebody kick. That's a Maya who's playing actually. The kicks we get from the other side, we get in the other side. So this is what I feel. That means we have to put more efforts, which Gurbani says, Uddam karendya jio tum, kamam dya sukh punch, dhyaen dya tu Prabhu mil. The Nanak Utri Chint, that's his exercise for us, only ਧਿਆਉਣਾ ਉਹਦੀ ਸਿਫਤ ਸਲਾਹ, ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ, ਨਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਰੰਗ, ਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਾਣਾ. The whole essence of this Shabad, I think, is to appreciate the Creator and I will think of Him ਨਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਗਤ ਕਰਨੀ. This is what I think out of it. Everything was clear made by Chetan ji. Thank you.
Thank you ਜੀ. ਹਾਂਜੀ ਕੁਲਵੰਤ ਕੌਰ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿ ਫਤਿਹ.
ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ.
I think I heard everyone the GP explained so well, and I think myself personally, Superstar sachiar maida sanhi is when, you know, when a person believes when he is in Gurmukh Avastha. Gurmukha and Namaskar is actually, maybe I can say the state of mind. When I am in Bichoda state, I am Manmukh. When I am in, the Sanjog Binal, in the Milan Valley stage, then I am in Gurmukh stage. And when I am in Gurmukha, then I think Suprasa Satyar Menda Sai. Then, when we use the conditional word that if you are in Sahajavastha, then we think Suprasa Satyar Menda Sai. But when I am not in Sahajavastha, I am in Manmukha. I don't think that. Then I think I am the creator. I take the whole burden on my shoulders that, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. So what I think is, um, the same persons, we are in different stages. That's how I think about each other.
ਠੀਕ. ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ. ਰਾਣਾ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ.
ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ.
Very interesting observations. ਇਹ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ the first three things I heard, Chetandeep ji and then Gurpreet ji and then Gurdeep Puri. When I heard all three, it tells me one thing: we are in the circular argument here, and it shows exactly the problem what we have when we try to intellectualize. We think that we know the answer. What I heard from Chetandeep, and very nicely he got to the word what I was looking for, the word free will. Do we really have a free will? And when he said that I see everybody's, he is everybody, and that's why he would not like to be judgmental about other people when he sees those things. The very fact that you are not being judgmental is also because of him. You can't do that thing. When Gurpreet Virji said that, yes, we should do whatever we want to do. Hukam is nirvair and the results will come according to the hukam. Now, here is one thing that we are saying here, that we are able to do something. On the other hand, Guru Sahib says, Jo tud pave soi kisi, jo tu de soi ho pai. Jisnu kirpa kare tin naam ratan paya. Then he says, Tu ape karta tera kya sab hoy. When you read these lines, and then we ignore the fact that we still can do those things. When I see intellectual people say that we can achieve by doing hard work, my thinking when I listen to these pankti and these things, even only those people can do hard work who are blessed. So why not you can work hard but I cannot? If you claim that you are working hard because you have been motivated, that's your effort, I said no, that's nonsense. You don't have any free will to do those things. It is a darya, you are just floating in that. If that darya is pushing you on one side, you go that side, whatever you do, you can't do anything. So my firm belief is that we as human beings, we don't have any free will. These circular arguments come in because there's much more than that which is beyond our comprehension, we cannot intellectualize it. So I believe when I read these panktis, we can go back and then say the same thing as we started doing that. Ikyun kar hukme andar sabko, and then we again go back and start thinking, yes, we can still do, but the results are coming from the hukam. Yes, results are coming from the hukam, but whatever you do, you can't do it yourself. You don't have free will. So that's the way I think about. And I think deeply from Montreal Radha Shabad that further reinforces the same concept that you don't have any free will. So that's my understanding, and I will leave there. Please.
Hanji, thank you, Javirji. Hanji, Bajovirji, coming to you.
I think I will pass for now. I'm
Acha ji.
I'm still in the very, very early stages, but I might have some questions later.
If you have any questions, please raise them. We can pass them on to whoever you wish to address.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੂੰ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਓਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਗੋਡ ਆਲਮਾਈਟੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਤੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਬੈਠਾ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੀ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਲਾਈਕ the God which is, say, within you, Ravinder Virji, how is that God communicating to the God within Dilpreet or all of you others? So I'm kind of struggling. ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੂੰ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਬੈਠਾ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਚਲੋ ਮੈਂ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਬੈਠਾ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਟ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਨਾ. So I'm trying to, I don't know whether it makes sense. It's kind of beyond my understanding at the moment.
That's a perfectly legitimate and valid question. I just want to ask anybody on the forum who wants to address this question that's been raised. How is this communication going on?
Can I answer?
Hanji, Gurdeep Singh Virji.
Little bit what I think, The two answers to this question. One is, Guru Granth Sahib said, Parthai Sakhi Mahapurkh Bolde Sanhi Sagal Jahane. We all have the similar problems. Doesn't matter by this way or that way. All Parthai Sakhi means any happening which happened at that time, but we all are related to that somehow. So God is in everywhere, and everybody has, but we cannot communicate unless we are into that avastha as said Sahaj. Sahaj ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਹੈਗਾ ਤਿੰਨਾਂ ਗੁਣਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਤ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਣਾ ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪੇ ਕਰੀ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚ ਸਹਿਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਤਿੰਨੀ ਗੁਣੀ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਭਰਮ ਸੁੱਤਾ ਸੁੱਤਿਆਂ ਰਹਿਣ ਬਿਹਾਨੀ ਗੁਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਤੇ ਸੇਜਨ ਜਾਗੇ ਜਿਨ ਹਰ ਮਨ ਵਸਿਆ ਬੋਲੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਬਾਣੀ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਮਨ ਚ ਹਰੀ ਵਸਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਨਸਾਈਡ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਰ ਪ੍ਰਗਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਭਗਤ ਪਹਾੜਾ ਜਾਪਦਾ ਸਭ ਨਾਮੇ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਤਾਪ ਦਾ we cannot see even ourselves within us. We so called, yes, it is there. Ghat ghat mein har jo base santan ke upakar. But that's the effort what we are going to do. That's what we are doing now every day here. That's why we have to go to Gurdwara, Sat Sangat, Kirtan gana. Kal jug mein Kirtan pradhana, Gurmukh japke laye dhyana. As long as we start following these steps, you start feeling within yourself and you get aware of everything in the universe. Then you don't have to do anything. Divine knowledge is the mother of all knowledges. Thank you very much. I think it's an answer.
Hanji, does that address any of your questions?
Well, I think as I said, ਜੇ ਐਡੀ ਛੇਤੀ ਇਹ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਏ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ
okay
I'm sorry.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ
can I further confuse it?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬੋਲੋ ਹਾਂਜੀ please ਅਸੀਂ confuse ਹੋਣੀ ਆਏ ਆ.
I think fundamental confusion in my mind or general confusion which prevails is that when you say ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੱਬ ਹੈਗਾ I can talk to him. The problem is you are not mad. There's no I there. It is him. When you say mere under, you are nothing. You are nothing there. Okay. Or Ravinder Virji there which Rabha Ravinder Virji is nothing. It is that entity which is making Ravinder Virji or to you. So that confusion, we cannot be very clear on that. We cannot see that separation. Because we don't exist. There's no man. And that's where the ego comes in. That's where we are all. That's the fundamental home dira groga. We are stuck in that. That's why our intellect doesn't open up. We think that we are different. We have control on ourselves. We don't. That's why I say we don't have free will. We don't exist. We exist because of that. Without that, we are not. And we have created that I. And it's still very confusing, confounding concept. It will require a lot of intuitive thinking because this is not something analytical, something not quantitative. It is something intuitive. Each person has to think, and we have to transcend to a certain level before we really understand that we are nothing. I think it's
Anji,
very
thank you.
complex. Yeah.
Anji Vijay, let me give the others a chance to weigh in. Anji Dilpreet, I know you wanted to say something.
Right. See again, I today only I this thought is coming and I am more agreeing with it is that Guru Nanak started with the concept of God creator because that was the prevailing concept at that time. And then he very nicely steered us towards the concept of hukam. So in this Shabad, right, the way Bajwa Paji asked, right, if we replace the tu karta with the concept of hukam which he has given, and then I think we can answer how it is the same thing and how we all are connected and how it works. Because if we say tu karta sachiar maida sanhi, that hukam, we are taking hukam de jo je jo to pave so hi thisi, again hukam can replace that. जो तू दे सो ही हो पाई, again हुक्म can replace that. सब तेरी तू सबनी त्याया जिसनु कृपा करे तिन नाम रतन पाया, again it is the hukam is replacing that. गुरमुख लादा मनमुख गवाया तू दाप विछोड़िया आप मिलाया, again तू दरियाओ सब तुझी माए, nobody हुक्म अंदर सबको बाहर हुक्म न कोई, तुझ बिन दूजा कोई नाए, right? जी जन सब तेरा खेल, again in many places everything comes out of hukam and remains in the hukam. जिसनो तू जाना है सो ही जन जाने, again whoever is putting the effort and all. I know when we say these words, Rana Virji will say we are intellectual, but again the logic no is fitting there. And जिन हर सेवया तिन सुख पाया, सहजे ही हर नाम समाया, again the same thing. I am more thinking now, and I want to get others' opinion also, that Guru Nanak started with that concept which was prevailing, but then he introduced the concept of hukam, and then he said everything is in hukam, and then he wanted us to be in hukam and understand the hukam and work with it. I don't know if there is a free will or not, but I think he replaced that the concept of God with the concept of hukam, and that is where everything fits in for me as of now. Maybe. Thank you.
Um, okay, let me see. Who? Chetandeep?
What is your opinion, Virji, on this? That the way I am saying that it is steering away towards the hukam. What are your thoughts?
I have, frankly, no opinion. I think that
ਤੁਸੀਂ
I'd rather.
ਬਾਕੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਆਪਣਾ ਵੀ ਦੱਸੋ ਨਾ।
Nay, my thing is that I am more inclined to agree with what it's very difficult. See, the first thing that I heard you say was कि ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਰੱਬ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ. I think there is a fallacy right there, which Rana Virji pointed out. कि and as Gurdeep Singh Vir ji said कि वो रब ते है लेकिन प्रगट नहीं है. That is a part of you. That is the entire exercise of life, is to somehow get your get the part of you that is not material, as I believe. It's a quantum part of you to awaken. Har jinu hi kehne asi ya purkh kya last week we discussed. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of what we do at this level of intellectualization is just that, intellectualization. And I've often said this before, because we use language, because language is the only tool of communication that we have, we run into difficulties because we are trying to use an inadequate tool to describe something that will not lend itself to language. So problem ਉੱਥੇ ਖੜੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, and that is what creates this circular argument that Ranaviji is talking about. So I think we need to be very careful. We need to be very cognizant of the fact that we can't solve these. We cannot start describing, this karta or whatever with language, even though Bani is also coming to us in language, but it's also cautioning us that this language is not the one that will actually get you there. So I feel like um, anyone who is in any ways in a state of union, for want of a better word again, I think what happens is at the end, it's silence that descends upon such an individual. Because ज़्यादा कुछ फिर कुछ रह नहीं जाता कहने वास्ते. Because it is so awesome and so overwhelming that there really is. And yes, we can continue to intellectualize, and we do that. We've been doing this for 4 years. I mean, on this forum alone. And it helps. Of course, it sort of helps to clarify the thoughts alone. So and then to, Rana Virji said, we don't exist. We just have created our own ego. I sort of differ with him a little bit on that. I think the ego has been created by this karta to play this game, to give us this illusion of separateness. And that is precisely the game that's going on. So as you know, Bani which कई पंक्तियां ने where it's very clearly stated कि हाँ मैं तू ही दित्ती है सानू. So the point is कि दित्ती है क्यों दित्ती है, because you want to play this game of an illusion, this param, and then you have to bujhna hai that this is an illusion. It really isn't. Um, I also feel that the ego, Kenya, and this notion of separateness, it's like a tangled hierarchy. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but if you take a word, if you take a sentence like someone saying I'm a liar, it becomes very difficult to resolve that, because if he is a liar, then he's not a liar because he's telling you the truth. ਉਹੀ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ, because we get tangled up. There's no, and it's self-referential to ourselves, and we kind of cannot really get out of it because we have to use it. So I am very loath to really tell you exactly where I stand on this, because it is all very fluid to me. Hanji, Chetandeep Singh ji.
Hanji Veerji, very interesting discussion. And I think few thoughts I would like to offer. Maybe let me start with an example of when we have heard this example multiple times, like on a moonlit night, let's say there is a moon, and if you put uh, chalk kade, right, and the moon's reflection is in every kada, and you can say like I see one reflection and this one is separate from the other, and I can talk to my own kada, but how can I communicate with the next one? But the fact is, like, the sense of separateness is an illusion, and there is two karta, there is only one. So that, at least in my head, helps me understand. And I think this line is very, very key, and we have actually not focused a lot on this, and maybe we should. Tuj bin duja koi na hai, right? I mean, just to say, or as an intellectual concept, right, that you and me are different. But I don't think Ramdas ji here is saying this without a deep knowing that he has experienced that everybody around him, I mean, the bird sitting outside on a tree is no different from him. I mean, really physically, not just metaphorically. Right? I mean, if I have experienced this reality of oneness, of ikonkar, of Tuj bin duja koi na hai, then I would I would like to see, or I would like to understand what are the implications of that, or how would that feel in my daily life. I mean, when I have felt that I'm no different than you, is that physically, is that metaphorically, is that like how would I be feeling? I think we need to maybe
That,
talk.
that that is indeed the question I was going to raise to you, because it is extremely important for us to understand what does it really mean to say that we are all one. So, in what way are we one? Uh, it seems to me clearly we are not one physically. Uh, so there has to be some other way that we are connected, right? So it
So,
is it,
so
it is an extremely important point to to
right. So
to.
let me interrupt you right there. When you say clearly we are not the same physically, why not? You and me are made from the same raw material,
We are, but
right?
we
What
still we
is the
still
same raw
have a
material?
we still have. So let's say that you come to this realization that everybody is one, that you feel it somewhere. Do you think that I'll disappear or you will disappear? You will still have a conversation with me as a separate entity, even if you think you've had this
So
experience.
I will still have the same conversation with you, but not as a separate identity. I mean, think of it as a
How would I not be
think
a
of
separate identity? I'd
think
be I'd be physically separated from you.
think again. We are operating at a physical realm, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
but you are in a physical realm.
we
That's my point.
we let
You're bounded by a physical realm.
we let's say let's take the analogy of a reflection, right? Multiple reflections of a single moon. Now we can claim that these are reflections are separate, they are physical, but are they really separate and separate? Are they not one?
No,
I mean, aren't
in
they?
this world they are not.
So
In
maybe they
in the,
don't
in the
even
three-dimensional world they are not. I think that is what Gurdeep Singh Veerji
maybe
was
they don't
also.
even exist. Maybe they don't even exist.
Perhaps, but that's what you're experiencing. But anyway, let's continue on with this. I don't want to become the center of the conversation here. Ranaveji, do you want to add something?
But yes, the question you posed is extremely important question, that how Chetan Viji and you are separate when the Guru Sahib is saying Tujun Duja Koi Na Hai. And when I look at that, it is saying that the various sense which exist in you and making you do anything is the same. Now, why you behave differently and why Chetan Deep Puri and he behaves differently is a separate question. But the entity which is in you, in me, and everybody else is exactly the same. The
Hanji.
question comes in Guru Sahib ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਲਾਈਨ he says uh, ਜੋ ਤੁਧ ਜੋ ਤੂੰ ਪਾਵੇ ਸੋਈ ਥੀਸੀ ਜੋ ਤੂੰ ਦੇ ਸੋਈ ਉਪਾਈ, and then of course he is saying that whatever we are doing is you are doing. What is happening to you intellectually, physically, emotionally is his doing. But why it is separate, we don't have an answer to that. Why it
Yeah.
is separate? Okay,
So
we don't.
I absolutely, am one with you. I mean, I kind of think of this one karta as being one consciousness. It is one consciousness, but it has different manifestations. It's like the electrical powerhouse is one, but you have all manner of bulbs, different wattages, different appliances pulling electricity, but they are different manifestations. Same way, I feel that we are manifesting differently, but connected with the same consciousness. So it's like our mind being part of a universal mind. That is the connection. And what we make of ourselves is really the game here, right? How we are developing our personality, because our sojourn on this earth, on Dharam Khand, is meant for personality development, because that's what Guru Nanak is telling us in Japji Sahib. So we are all connected with the same essence, as you say, but some of us are emitting less light, some of us are emitting more light. Why is that? As you said, is a separate question altogether. But the fact is, so to me, Chetandeep, the realization is that it is the essence, the universal matrix is one. And we are all looped into that universal matrix. But on the outside, in this physical world, we appear different and we are different to that extent.
So, Virji, can I add something?
Hanji, please do.
Again, this is not a fully formed idea, but still, let me try to verbalize it. So, for example, let's say we are sitting in the same room, right? I'm I'm hearing some sounds coming from you, and I see you as a person. But what is really happening is that my brain is constructing an image of you inside my own brain, right? I mean, get some light that is reflected from you, and I get some sound waves that are coming from you. But what is actually happening is I'm constructing you inside my own head. I don't really know that you exist physically as separate from me or not, but you exist as an image in my own head.
Well,
Can I can I can I can I
Hanji,
add that,
Hanji,
please?
Hanji, Hanji.
I think
But I
sometimes
just
it
want to say
is
one. I just want to say one thing to
sure.
Chetandeep, and then Vijay, you. I get where you're coming from. So this is an old idea. Of course, there is. Even physicists are beginning to say that there is no color out there. There really isn't. It's all a projection of your mind. That's precisely the point. Our mind is projecting everything, right? And then it's creating memories. I get that. But let me let Bajwa Virji chime in.
Wha- Being a medical person, I I I might have a different idea, but or thought.
को
Uh,
सारे आइडियाज खुले ने भेजी आई मीन पता किसी ਨੂੰ कुछ भी नहीं so
well,
but we welcome ideas.
well, to use your same example, when you say that sitting in a room and you construct an image in your head, but you really don't know whether somebody else is sitting there, I feel we can say whatever we want, but actually the other people sitting in the room are physically present there. You know, there is no denying that fact, and they are separate from you. What ties them is that they have the same 46 chromosomes in their body in each cell, which God Almighty started the process with. So I think the common thread among all humans is the 46 chromosomes. The common thread between all other organisms or living beings or living things is the number of chromosomes which is there, which, and we do know that the chromosomes and the DNA in the cell is the actual headquarter which makes the person do things, and the animal or the plants or whatever, the whole living being world, they do things based on what is there, the DNA will tell them. So I don't know whether it is true to say that, oh, you are a figment of my imagination, but I don't know. I think it's a very, very difficult
Hanji,
topic.
it's a we've digressed
Can I
into
just ask something
uh,
here, please?
Hanji, please go
And
ahead.
well, it's good that we have a medical expert here. It's very interesting. Let me get some clarification. Yes, we have chromosomes. Yes, fine, and we have cells in the body. Why cells are alive? What is in the cells which make them alive? Because the chromosomes are right there. Why, what is in the cell? Because all 24 and 24 is talking about the right resident there. Why they are
That's
alive there? What is inside them?
that is a very good question, and I think that is where, if science could explain that, then they will be able to create life in the lab. I don't think science is there yet, but that is where the connection with, I feel, science and religion comes. Um, and I feel Gurbani actually is a very scientific, that it tells us that there is something, somebody created it, but that somebody we don't know. I don't know whether whatever I'm saying is making sense, but sorry, that's all I can say for
No,
now.
that's fine. I have another question here. I think Chetan Deep that's very nicely said that in the room I create image in my mind. The
But
way I think.
that's the process now, Vijay. That's how images get created in your
No,
head.
no, 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 let me complete my question. Sorry. In the brain, there's no image, no taste, no smell, no sound. Is a purely dark chamber. Only electrical impulses are taking place. There's nothing else. Image is created in the retina and that is transduced into the brain cells. There's nothing. So there's no image. Let's leave that thing out. So that's my take on that. I think medical people can challenge me on that, but that's how I challenge that. There's no image, no sound,
Hanji.
no taste in the brain's dark chamber.
Hanji, I think I need to step in here for a little bit.
Okay, okay. Sorry,
We
sorry,
we
sorry.
we are getting carried away
Yeah.
Yes.
because we are now trying to equate science with Gurbani, and we are getting off on a tangent. Not all of us are at the same level of knowledge about these things. So I think, in fairness, we should just focus on the Shabad. And it isn't necessary that we have to have answers to everything. I don't think we have answers to everything. It is not necessary for us. But nonetheless, the questions that have been posed here are exceedingly important. They need to be reflected on. But I think today, let us not digress any more than we have. We have about 5 or 7 minutes left. I want to ask the panel here if they have any final thoughts on the Shabad, and we'll call it a day. Haji Chetandeep Singh ji.
Uh, Hanji Virji, I mean, I think the most important question for me again is to reflect on to bin duja koi na hai. Like, how would it actually feel like when I'm in this state, rather than knowing the concept, but actually feeling it? What what I would feel, or how will I see the reality?
Haji Dilpreet Singh ji.
I think interesting discussion, and what I am taking today with me is that if I replace the creator, Vaheguru, or everything with Hukam, I think it is making more sense for me for some time, maybe. Thank you.
Haji Gurdeep Singh Ved ji.
And
Final thoughts.
to answering this question is Tudme Tuja Nahi Hormi, that's the final sport. We call it a third person sport. There's no mother, no father, no sister, no wife, not my body. Then what we need is sport. No hospital, nobody can do anything now. That's the support we look forward from right from now, from the beginning till end, even after the life. The other question, little bit I'm trying to answer. Panch tatikar tum sis sab saji, ke shema karyo je kish kita hove. But the science here is behind the Gurbani. Panch tat. I think we can give explanation next time, but the five tat or everybody knows it. And we are in a dream. This is a dream. Life is but a dream. जैसे सुपना रहने का तैसे संसार. Once our life is finished, what is there? Nothing. We were in the dream. Same thing every night we have a dream. Can we find it in the early morning? What we are doing at night time, where they are gone now. So this is the whole life. This is the whole world. This
Haji.
I can put myself into it. I don't know whether this satisfies you or not.
Haji.
We are
Haji.
trying everybody to understand more and more. Thank you.
Haji Kulwant Kaur Penji. Final thoughts.
Hanji, Vijay, I have a question, but I think we're running out of time. Maybe next time.
Haji.
Vijay can address my question that when he said that, Guru have replaced the concept of God with the concept of Hukam. I really want to understand how he defines Hukam, and does he think it's a system or a higher authority? Maybe next time. I think,
Maybe you should give him a call.
yes, okay, Vijay.
And
Yeah, Vijay, I can have your number, right?
Dilpreet. Dilpreet
Hanji
Singh.
Virji, Hanji Pandya, I can give you my number, and
मैं भेज देंगा यहाँ हरविंदर भेज देगा.
ठीक है Vijay, ठीक है, thank you.
हाँ जी. हाँ जी. हाँ जी. Ranaveer ji, any final thoughts ji?
Hani, just one simple comment here. I think very nicely, Dalpreet Veerji said very nicely कि hukmi on that sabko bahar hukum na koi. When we look at hukam is not a unitary concept; it's a multifaceted concept. Then there comes a contradiction when you equate that to eka, which is unitary concept. So I don't think there is something behind hukam. That's how I feel. We
हाँ जी.
cannot equate hukam with one, and so there is imbalance there, in my opinion.
हाँ
Anyways,
जी. Intellectually, yes, indeed. हाँ जी. Bajwa Veer ji.
Um, I think I'm good.
You're good. ठीक है
Anji.
जी. Changa ji, with that, happy dreams to everybody. Pinch yourself. Make sure that it wasn't a dream. Thank you very much for a very good conversation. Waheguru ji ka khalsa,
that's
Waheguru ji ki
why
fateh.
good.